found TonyBasilio.com, home of the Tony Basilio Show. In just a few minutes, we'll be right with you with another award-winning, action-packed edition of your Tony Basilio Show. You found Radio Free Tennessee. Your Tony Basilio Show will begin momentarily. Keep it locked in right here at TonyBasilio.com and on your Tony Basilio app. And hey, do us a favor. Spread the word. Another award-winning, thought-provoking, action-packed edition of the Tony Basilio Show is coming up next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com, home of the Tony Basilio Show. You found the Tony Basilio stream at TonyBasilio.com or on your smartphone or tablet. Another thrilling, chilling, and sometimes spilling edition of the Basilio Show is on the way next. Tips are always appreciated here at TonyBasilio.com.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
And we welcome you to the Monday edition. Tony Basilio along with you. It's a great day to be alive and well with you on this Monday. Tennessee on the practice field today. Chris Brazel back. Brazel, Dazzle, he's back. Staley misses today's practice. Mike Matthews is out in a red jersey. Tennessee 9 practices in to the camp workouts with a scrimmage in the rearview mirror. 18 days out as we speak today. 18 days out from the starting opening game with Syracuse, and offense very much a work in progress. It's a great Monday edition. It is. We've got a lot to talk about, obviously, coming off the scrimmage. I'll share a few things with you that I've learned about the weekend that was. And then we'll bring Bino, Jeff in here, and Brian, kind of talk it out with you at 865-200-5402 is the numero uno if you want to get involved with us today. But the truth about Tennessee right now is they're kind of a mess offensively. They knew they were going to kind of be a mess. I don't know that they knew they would be this much of a mess at this point in camp, but they're kind of a work in progress, and it sort of is what it is. I was told that the interior of the defensive line over the weekend was alarmingly bad. I mean, the offensive line was alarmingly bad to the point where they couldn't even get plays off. I mean, they were, the officials on hand were having to blow whistles as soon as plays began almost, several times, because quarterbacks would have just gotten drilled. And center really struggled. The guard play wasn't very good either. And then you got to put this all in context because Tennessee's defensive line on the interior is elite, and they're excellent, and they're very good players. So, by some respect, you would go, well, okay, it doesn't really alarm me, doesn't scare me. And then by some respects, you've got to look at it and go, boy, that's on the offensive side of the ball, it's a lot of moving pieces. And they're kind of running out of time. But the good news is, and this is something that we've talked about with even like Watson Brown as well. The good news is that your run up to when the real thing starts at the end of September, Georgia's really going to be your first real test, unless you really stink. And if you really stink, that means the Syracuse game is really a game. And at this point, I guess anything's possible in modern college football would be the way to look at it. But it would be very, very concerning if you had a real, let's say a real game that you were playing there in week 1. Like some of the programs in the SEC are playing real games in the first couple weeks of the year. It would be a major concern for Tennessee. Thank goodness they're playing a Syracuse team that got rated, because they were sort of an offensive mess over the weekend. The quarterback play, Merklinger has been, I just say it in the blog today because this is what I believe, has not been very good in camp. Joey Aguilar is very much a work in progress, and George McIntyre has been their best quarterback. But then again, who even knows how to quantify that when he's gone against 2s and 3s in practice? And he's, as Orange Throat wrote today, he's just not going to play. I mean, he's just not physically. That's just not going to happen. And I mean, the only way he plays is if Aguilar's bad, Merklinger gets hurt, or both those guys get hurt, and they're going to be forced to play McIntyre. So it's there is good news on offense. The good news is the 2 offensive tackles, including the true freshman, had very good days over the weekend. And the tight ends remain the strength of the deal. And I led with the wide receivers off the top because wide receiver play just kind of remains, it just kind of stands out. Tennessee's very good on defense. It's extremely, extremely interesting to think about what this team's going to look like because it feels like, and I'll bring Bino in here, it feels like they're going to have like an Iowa type of football team this year. Very good on defense, nice running game, average quarterback play. That's what you're going to get, average quarterback play. Who knows what you're going to get at wide receiver. Your strength of your team will lie in your on your defense, and then flip the ball out to tight ends. I just don't. It's what it feels like right now. Now, obviously, they could grow into something from here, but I'm just telling you, based on what I'm hearing, this is going to be one of those kind of nurse it around, it feels like, seasons. Bino, Jeff, obviously it's too early to draw those conclusions. We can only talk in real time, which we've said on here, how you can kind of talk about this stuff, but not a lot of buzz. Probably not the things we want to hear, Bino, but not surprising coming out of camp this early, right?
Well, Tony, you got me because Bino is out. He texted Friday, everybody.
Okay.
So are they ready to just install the triple option or run the single wing or do some kind of a Vanderbilt, Jerry DiNardo, iBone type thing yet?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, we could sit here all day and get all, like, tore up over it and make a little joke. Who knows? I know one thing. The fact that we're sitting here and we're 9 practices in and your 3 receivers haven't worked together any one day in camp, I mean, you cannot make that up. In a way, you could blow that thing out of proportion, and in a way, it's just a mess. I mean, they have just Matthews today had a red no contract jersey on. Staley today does not practice due to injury, and you get Brazel back. So it is it's interesting. About Aguilar, I was told over the weekend, they're hoping to get the turnover out of his game. You know, the costly turnover, because that's what plagued him last year. And the one good thing about Heupel's offense is that you're not as exposed from a quarterback perspective, but you still have to make good decisions. And Saturday he threw a ball that was jumped for a touchdown by a Brazel on defense. So, you know, and that's just kind of where we are. I mean, that's just sort of where we are at this point in time.
I think you want to suck if you're offensively right now. You don't want to be on all cylinders yet, do you?
Bri, you don't want to you don't want to look like this, though. I mean, there's a line there, but it kind of is what it is. I want to hear from people at 865-200-5402. Where are you as you digest what we've heard about this scrimmage and as camps unfolded? Has it affected your expectations for the upcoming season? It has not affected my expectations. I thought this was an 8-4, 7-5-ish football team. That was kind of my sense of this. I said a couple months ago, I said if you win 9 games, everything that's gone on this offseason, Coach of the Year territory. Those of you talking about winning 10, hey, more power to you. I hope you're right. I don't see that, but more power to you. And so if you want to get in the hunt and in the mix with us, 865-200-5402, and we'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, let's come back on the other side. We'll get some calls in. Here's my question for you. Do you, as you think about what's going on at camp so far, are you adjusting in your brain what we're going to see? That's all. And the Brazil thing, like what happened with him over the weekend, maybe he goes and has a good year now, now that he's on the scoreboard, so to speak. Very, very seldom does that kind of thing happen under Josh Heupel. Very seldom. Very seldom. So we'll come back on the other side. I want to hear from you. Camp, really odd start for the offense. We knew it was going to be tough. We didn't know these receivers would miss this much camp. Hey, we're what? What did I say? We're a few days away from, this thing getting real. 17 days out from your start. Thank goodness you have Syracuse across from you, and not like a legit somebody or other, something or other. But I want to hear from you. You tell me how you're responding to what you're hearing, because it's been tougher than even I thought sledding. And look, as I said 2 weeks ago, offenses are always ahead of defenses this time of the year, or defenses rather always ahead of offenses. There's no doubt that's true. That's always been the case. And there was no doubt that the defense was going to win the day. Last week at that scrimmage, we were talking with Adam Sparks about that. Defense is always going to win the day. But by the same token, you have to be able, at the point of attack, to block, and function. And what happened Saturday was pretty alarming to them from that perspective. So it's very much a work in progress. Let me take a timeout. We'll come back. I want to get some calls in. I want to hear from you. Let's kick it around as we talk about camp and what's going on as we come back with more right after this.
Are you searching for a great local coffee? I'm Billy with Grade A Grounds. You can buy our freshly roasted coffee online and support a good cause with every sip. Great coffee, greater causes. Visit our website today, gradeagrounds.com.
Only 2 more homestands to see your Knoxville Smokies in action. Join us next week for All-You-Can-Eat Wednesday, Titans Night on Thursday, with a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Titans game and autographed jersey. UT Night on Saturday with a free Dylan Sampson bobblehead giveaway, and fireworks both Friday and Saturday night. Don't miss your final chances to see your Smokies play in the brand new Covenant Health Park. Get your tickets now at SmokiesBaseball.com.
Knoxville Smokies.
The end of summer means big savings and no more excuses to not call Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Don't let plumbing or HVAC problems follow you into fall, and take care of them now while the kids head back to school. Whether it's a leaky pipe, outdated water heater, or AC unit struggling to keep up, the expert team at Pipe Wrench is here to help you transition smoothly into fall with a home that's running efficiently and worry-free. This month only, enjoy 10% off any plumbing or HVAC service, including repairs, replacements, or maintenance. And Peace of Mind Maintenance Plan members will get an additional 10% off for 20% in total savings. From repairs to tune-ups to replacements, we'll help you check home comfort off your end of summer or back to school to-do list. We make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approval. So don't let HVAC or plumbing issues slow you down this season, and don't delay as the offer ends August 31st. Call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed or the visit is free.
Life never stops moving, and between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, a tire designed for doers, a tire that's going to last, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire.
Out-of-town law firms have been swarming into East Tennessee lately. From Memphis, Chattanooga, and Birmingham, they've stormed into the area. Wouldn't you rather do business with a local firm? You know, a true neighbor. Marcos Garza and the pros at the Garza Law Firm are just that. There are neighbors and friends that support local causes year-round. The Garza Law Firm works to serve you professionally on criminal matters, injuries and accident matters, and Social Security and disability filings. The Garza Law Firm is here for you at garzalaw.com. The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Are you stuck in a dead-end job or ready for a new challenge? Do you feel like it's time to try a new career? Well, it's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. My friends at TLD Logistics have some really exciting opportunities for you to learn a new skill. With a new 5-acre driving academy that's now under new leadership with all new course material. And the best part, it's absolutely free. What a great deal to set you on the road to higher pay. And TLD Logistics even offers weekly stipends to offset food and gas expenses. In 6 weeks' time, you could complete this course and be in compliance with FMCSA regulations. Then you're ready for the open road of opportunity. What are you waiting for? It's time to change lanes with TLD Logistics. Visit tldlogistics.com. That's tldlogistics.com. TLD Logistics.
A lime is not always just a lime. You see, some limes are lucky. For when a lime joins the salted rim of a crisp, refreshing Tres Dos Equis, that lime is no longer a mere lime, but a wedge of renowned Mexican limón. Muchas gracias, limón. And also, de nada. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2024 Dos Equis, imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Hey there, Basilio family. Jennifer Morse here with Keller Williams Realty. The countdown to fall football is on. Is your fall plan missing the perfect home to watch the Vols make another playoff run? If a new view is on your game day checklist, I'm ready to help you find it. Don't wait until kickoff. Give me a call today at 865-694-5904 or visit my website at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Josh Collins at Collins Insurance Agency. At Collins Insurance, we strive to ensure our customers receive better coverage along with bigger savings. Our community is important to us. We want to provide exceptional service to our customers. Anybody can provide great rates, great coverage, but can you also get great service? And hey, don't just take my word for it.
What's up, everybody? Zakai Ziegler here. My family turns to Collins Insurance Agency for the best service, coverage, and price.
So don't just go online and get some random insurance. Experience the Collins Insurance difference.
Like he said, experience the Collins Insurance difference. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. And hey, their Mama ZZ approved. CollinsInsuranceTN.com. Thank you to Josh Collins and ZZ.
One more thing, Tony. Go Vols!
Preparing food for a big gathering can really take it out of you. That's why you need to call Calhoun's and check out their selection of party platters. Whether you're hosting a party for the big game, a reunion, or just an everyday gathering, a Calhoun's party platter is next level. Choose from Calhoun's always excellent chicken tenders, fly with Calhoun's wings, or boneless wings with a variety of dipping sauces, award-winning next-level melt-in-your-mouth barbecue ribs, or delicious spinach artichoke dip, or get one of each. Plus, if you're doing burgers or sandwiches, Calhoun's has lots of side dishes like spinach Maria, baked cinnamon apples, Smoky Mountain baked beans, or creamy coleslaw. Available in pints, quarts, and gallons. And to finish things off, pick up one of Calhoun's great desserts to go, including homemade cheesecake or key lime pie. Calhoun's, simply your go-to party headquarters. With 9 locations all over East Tennessee, you can order online and just pick it up. Calhoun's, one of the Copper Cellar family of restaurants, along with Chesapeake's, Copper Cellar, Corner 16, Cherokee Grill, and Smoky Mountain Brewery. Eat local, eat good. It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to B. Tony B back with you, 865-200-5402. Hoosier Ryan, hang on one sec. You know, the one thing about what we're discussing here today is that, you know, all politics are local, and so we have a tendency to be myopic. And I was just trading notes with my man Goldbrick Joe, who's got his ear to the ground, Uber driver to the stars. And the truth is that, you know, as you pay attention to other things that are going on around the league right now, a lot of teams are in install mode offensively at this time of the year. Oklahoma's putting a brand new deal in with a transfer, a new system, new wide receivers. You know, there are a lot of teams. That's the good thing is that there are a lot of programs that are in your spot. There are a lot of programs that are in your spot. But I have to share with you what I hear, you know, as we go. And then we take it and move it for what it is. And then one other thing I'll introduce to you today, which kind of will dovetail into what we're talking about here, which is your expectation for the upcoming year. The interesting thing about the Heupel era is that it's just not gone the way it was supposed to go. This thing was going to be offensive showcase football and, you know, defense every once in a while and go out and outscore people and fast break stuff. And a couple years back, they flirted with a 14 playoff playing that way, you know. I mean, it was pretty incredible. And then last season was a workmanlike get to the playoffs any way possible. And the schedule helped, no doubt. Just like the schedule helped Indiana. The schedule helps in college football today. It's part of the deal when you're trying to figure out who's going to make a playoff at the end of the year, like we did last Thursday on here. But Andy Staples has put together, and this is, you know, kind of a criteria/opinion deal, but over at On 3, they've put together a Blue Bloods list, and then the 5 that just missed the cut for the Blue Bloods list. Here are the Blue Bloods in major college football today, and then we'll go to the phones on this. I want to get your thoughts. And here's the criteria. Top 15 program and win percentage, a minimum of 750 games. That's a lot of history. At least one national title in 2 of 3 eras, AP or coaches poll. In 2 of the 3 poll eras, winner of a final game of a bowl championship series or a college football playoff era. Now, Tennessee did 2 of those, qualified for 2 of those. Here's the list. Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, LSU, Michigan, Oklahoma, Miami, Notre Dame, Tennessee, Ohio State, Texas, and then Southern Cal. Just missing the cut from that criteria is Auburn, Clemson, Florida, Nebraska, Penn State. Again, the Blue Bloods are Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, LSU, Michigan, Oklahoma, Miami, Notre Dame, Tennessee, Ohio State, Texas, South Carolina. Missing the cut, Auburn, Clemson, Florida, Nebraska, Penn State. What's interesting is that Tennessee has such great history. What's also interesting is that several of these teams this season, of those schools that are up there, playoff hopefuls include, because that's a list of 12, playoff hopefuls include Alabama, Georgia, LSU. That's 3 from the first group. From the second group, Notre Dame is probably a playoff hopeful. Maybe Miami if things break right for them. So that's 5. Is Tennessee a playoff hopeful, Bri, at this point? Would you call them a legit playoff hopeful?
I think they're hoping to be in position in November. Their schedule is favorable towards that. And I think in some ways you didn't really know last year if they could be legitimately. There was hope, just like could be this year. But they hope to be in position.
Yeah, I don't know how I would couch you tell me, living listener, if you would couch the Vols, because I'm looking at these Blue Bloods. I would put Tennessee in the same category. I'd put a Florida State or a Miami. I mean, I guess if everything breaks right, you could get there, or even in Oklahoma. I look at Oklahoma's schedule. They're not making the playoffs.
Florida State was 2-10 last year, but they were 13-0 the year before.
That's what I'm saying.
They're in over Florida, and Miami's in over Florida, which is interesting.
Which is real volatility. But here are the Blue Bloods again. You've got Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, LSU. 3 of those 4 teams are playoff hopefuls this year. And I don't think LSU is making the playoffs, by the way. I think they're going to lose 3 games. The next 4 are Michigan, Oklahoma, Miami, Notre Dame. Out of that group of 4, Notre Dame is, top 5 in America, and they've got a really, as Matt said, a real interesting, neat, and fun schedule with which to navigate and probably make the playoffs at 10-2. Then you've got Tennessee, Ohio State, Texas, and USC. Tennessee and USC right now feel on the outside looking in. Ohio State and Texas are certainly going to make the playoff this year. So, by my estimation, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 of those Blue Bloods are making the playoffs this year. Maybe 6 of the Blue Bloods. That means it's pretty wide open. And then the next 5, Auburn's not making a playoff this year. These are the teams that just missed the cut. Florida's not making a playoff this year. Nebraska's not making a playoff this year. Penn State probably is making a playoff, and Clemson is. So that would account for 7 teams. So the top 16 Blue Bloods all time via Andy Staples' formula, 7 of the 16. That leaves a lot of wiggle room for some other people to jump in there. It's a pretty interesting sport when you start looking at it that way. But let's go to the phones. As you hear what comes out of camp, are you letting it affect how you feel about this team, or do you just kind of take it with, hey, I want to see what happens on the field? Which, by the way, is a completely fair thing to say. I want to see what happens on the field is a completely, in my position, fair thing to say. Let's go to the phones, and we'll get the Hujaval Ryan in here. And if you want to get in, love to hear from you at 865-200-5402. Hujaval Ryan, welcome in.
Hey, what's going on, Tone? How you feeling, bud? You feeling better?
Nah, I'm okay. I had a sleepless night the other night. I had a 2 nights ago, I didn't get a wink of sleep because I was just hurting. So I'm on my second day rebound here, which, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Well, we'll keep you in our prayers, bud. I'm sorry to hear that.
Love you.
Yeah. Before we get into your topic, quick joke here. With the Brazel news, I'm glad to see that, our wideouts, we might not run like Georgia Bulldogs, but we're starting to drive like them. So that's progress,
Well, that's an interesting way of looking at it. I had our insider Throtaji and me. We were arguing on the blog today. He thinks that somebody at UT dropped a ball because Brazel doesn't have had a driver's license that lapsed, and I'm like, what are we supposed to watch these guys 24/7?
Well, what's irritating is all he has to do is they continue the court case and nollie it. Typically, when you show the court you've obtained one, you don't even have to come back to court if you can show proof of getting one. And God knows he has the money. He just was not acting very adult-like, as you said. It appears in the blog.
Well, yeah, and look, he's that's kind of the book on him. He's not serious, as they say.
Downstream effects.
Some of the replies to people when Adam Sparks broke that story, some of these people, man, the replies to him on Twitter yesterday were out of this world. Like one guy said, the police didn't have to arrest him there.
Yeah, they kind of did.
Yeah, they kind of did. He's doubling the speed limit in a spot, and he's driving with that, and he knows he doesn't have a license, and he's driving like that. The kid knew that he didn't have. How did I know that? How did I know the kid knew he didn't have a license? He's carrying a passport around.
I thought that was cute.
Well, yeah, who carries a passport around? I mean, do you know anybody that carries a passport around? Because Tennessee's story, because I had somebody try and spin me, and they said, well, he didn't know that he didn't have a license. And I'm going, actually, he did know that. Why is he carrying a passport around?
Hey,
I mean,
gonna go down to the Bahamas
sense.
before the season starts. Come on,
There we go.
I don't know.
It just doesn't make any sense. But
hey,
a lot of
if
him.
he catches he'll catch a touchdown pass against Q's and whatever. It's a silly thing, but it's a silly thing, you know.
It is a silly thing. It's not like some violent thing. It's not like the kid's a bad kid. He's not a bad kid at all. He's just since he's been here, in the year plus he's been here, he's just not serious. Like there's just a lot of his game's not serious. He doesn't really go hard, so to speak. Yeah. And he's just one of those guys.
Downstream, this is a downstream effect of that, I'd say. But he's not going to get in trouble or suspended. This is such a nothing burger. It's just more like, dude, this is indicative of your work habits, and let's clean this up. This is silly. But
yeah, it's silly.
For your blue blood thing, I agree with. I would put that. But here's my you just got to wait and let the season play out. Unfortunately, it sounds like Satterwhite is not your center, and Pendleton is.
Yes.
What are you hearing on Perry? Can Perry be a nice guard? Because I assume they wanted Pendleton to be the guard and Satterwhite to be the center.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the thought now, that Perry slides in the guard and I guess we'll have to see what they do next scrimmage in terms of how they work that, because that's another thing that Adam had talked about over the weekend in his last appearance with us late last week, is that's something that we could see in terms of
reading between the lines. I think they knew that, and Saturday confirmed it because they were just talking points, ranting and raving about Perry. Now I'm sure he's a lot better, but it was weird. They're talking like he's Anthony Munoz. I'm like, oh, guys, come on. So I think they might have known this was coming.
Well, and look, and a lot of times you've got to it's kind of like the whole adage of coaches know who their best five are. They know who their best group is for anything, right? But you're cheering for guys on the field when you give them an opportunity to go out and get it done. Like there are guys that any coaching staff hopes will be the ones that get it done, but they still have to go out on the field and get it done. Right. And I don't think there's a tremendous amount of surprise that offensive line is a work in progress against a defensive line that's world class. What I was told, though, and I haven't seen this in many other places, but I'm just telling you what I'm hearing. I'm just trying to give an honest assessment of what went on. Yeah. They were kind of startled by how much the interior of their line got blowed up. And I do mean blowed up, not blown up, blowed up. And it is what it is. In many cases, officials basically had to blow whistles or quarterbacks were going to get popped because guys were coming in pretty much unabated. Like they were having some interior breakdowns. And I just wonder, how long is it going to take to put the whole puzzle together on offense? And is it going to take, into late September? Is it going to take into mid-September? Is it going to take into mid-October? Is it not going to happen? You know what I mean? And I'm just trying, in my mind, I'm just trying to put it all together here.
Yeah. Well, I agree with what you're saying. Out the door, I will say this. I love Coach Heupel, but, that one of those teams that did not make the blue blood cut, and I think I would probably agree with this, though their recent success, the Florida Gators, we can hate them all we want.
Yep.
One thing I begrudgingly respect about the Florida Gators in football and basketball is when they make hay when the sun shines, as the old country saying is, meaning that when they got a team, they bring home the hardware. And with Heupel this year, it's like, God, I hate saying what if we had an offense. I just wish he would have, it appears, capitalized on this second of the 2-year nice schedule. Now, hopefully I'm wrong, but I got a feeling that we're not going to be able to be quite as good as we could have.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, the 2-year scheduling window is a make hay when the sun shines opportunity for them these past 2 seasons. And this one's one of them. Like Brian said, and John Adams keeps saying this, the schedule is such that, because I say, Brian, when you look at these Blue Bloods and you say, okay, well, who's a playoff contender? Alabama's a playoff contender this year. Georgia certainly is. LSU certainly is. Florida State, coming off a 1-win year last year or whatever they come off, they're not. Now, they might bounce back and have an incredible year this year, but with a straight face, you can't say that that's a playoff contender with a straight face. Now, you could if you got like super drunk and you were down in Tallahassee somewhere and, you know, some gal was like batting her eyes at you and you're one of the guys listening to me here and, you know, you're prone to that. Oh, yeah, you guys are going to the playoffs. But us talking on a Monday, what are we like? A week and a half away from kicking it off in week 0? Come on now. Florida State's not a playoff team. Michigan's going to be better this year, but they have a true freshman quarterback. And, you know, how's the Moore era going to play out? I don't consider Michigan a playoff contender this year. Now, you could say, well, Tony, possibly four teams out of the Big Ten will go. Why not them? I don't see that. I see Penn State from that league. I see Ohio State from that league. And who else? Oregon, maybe? Who else? Who do you got, Brian, out of the Big Ten? Do you think Michigan, off this blue blood list, Brian, is Michigan going to the playoff?
They're sort of in that second tier of teams that might have a chance to make a playoff run, but I wouldn't say for sure they're going to make a playoff this year. I'm intrigued to see what Nebraska does. Not going to say they're in the playoffs, but I mean that's one that, you know, Wisconsin, can they take a step under Fickle? See if who else can be like an Indiana this year. Who's going to be the Indiana? Will Indiana do it again?
Andy Staples' blue blood list is as follows, and you tell me what you agree with on here and disagree with, because I see where Nebraska fans are highly upset that I'm just looking at the reaction to this over on X. Nebraska fans are upset that they're not on this list. Listen, you've ceased to exist in college football for 15 years. I mean, it's one thing to do kind of what we did, which is you have some self-inflicted wounds of bad hires, but even at that, the strength of Tennessee's program is that we still have had some pretty good years. Nebraska has just sucked. I mean, they've just sucked. It's interesting Penn State's not on this list, but you have to draw a line somewhere. And Miami sustained success over 3 decades previous to the era we're currently in, has them up there. But this is certainly a fluid thing. Clemson's new money. That's why they missed the cut. Clemson's a last 15-year extravaganza, even though they did sneak in and win a natty in the early 80s under Danny Ford, which at the time was just kind of a weird sort of fluky thing, right in the time period where I think BYU claims one of them as well, after beating Michigan in a Holiday Bowl. That's a weird era of college football there in the early 80s. 865-200-5402 if you want to get in the hunt with us. The question for you is this. As you hear what you hear coming out of camp, are you sort of taking it with a grain of salt? Are you adjusting your expectations accordingly? Is it one of these things in your mind where you look at this thing and you go, you know what? Everybody has issues. It's early in the season and it's early in camp. I'll tell you this. Tennessee's quarterback play Saturday, well, it hasn't been good. It wasn't very good. Offensively, it's hard to run a play when you can't block in the interior of your offensive line. That was kind of a rough showing from them on offense Saturday. Very much a rough showing. Rougher than even I expected. I wasn't there, but hearing what I hear, rougher than what they expected is where they are right now. And doesn't mean it doesn't mean this is what it's going to be, because you don't have all your pieces. And your quarterback that you're going to play, who's hopefully going to pick it up as we go, hopefully you can get out of him, coach out of him the mistake that he made over the weekend where he got a route jumped and a ball taken back for a touchdown. Hopefully you can get that stuff out of him by the time the season starts. That's why we have camp. So in a sense, I share it with you. We talk about it. But we do it with an eye to, hey, this is real, but it's not real. But it certainly is an indicator of what we're seeing. But let's go to the phones, and I'm going to get Dave in here, who's up next with us. Dave, welcome in. Appreciate you calling.
Hey,
how you doing, buddy?
Hey,
good.
Jeff?
Jeff's not here.
Jeff?
He's away. There? Yeah, he's away.
Oh, okay. I mean, Tony, should we put you on suicide watch? I mean, this has been so depressing the way you sound today. And I'm the negative one. Remember this. It's depressing.
Well, I'm putting it. I'm saying everybody else has issues, Dave. What do you want me to say?
Iowa was offense. I mean, I look at it this way, Tony.
Yeah.
If you took 2023's football team, 2021's football team, and you gave it a great defense, a good defense like this team has, how many more games would that team could have won that year in 2021?
No, it's a great point. Look, I think that we're having two different conversations here. I'm talking about the offense. You're talking about the team as a whole. I still say with the team as a whole, I still say, and I thought this was going to be an 8-4 football team anyway, I still say that's kind of where I'm at. Now, you're making it sound like I'm on here saying this is a 5-win team. What I'm saying is you may have to win in different ways, kind of what they did last year. You may have to be a little more, at least early on, till you grow what you're going to grow with your passing game. But this, to me, looks like a run the ball. Your tight ends are very good. You had really good tackle play over the weekend. I mean, they'll figure some things out on the offensive line. But, you know, that whole quarterback wide receiver dynamic, when you can't grow it right now, and they can't grow it because they can't get these guys on the field at the same time. I don't know what you would like somebody like me to say. I mean, what would you like me to say?
Well, I guess nothing. I mean, it is what it is.
Okay. Well,
but,
I didn't do it, Dave. I didn't do it. I didn't do this.
All the Nico bastards. If he would have, what's our feeling with Nico?
No idea. We have no idea what he was. I still don't know because he left.
Well, he's better than anything we got now on the field. It really seems that way. It really does.
Is he? I mean, I don't know. Is he better? Here's the thing about Nico. Nico, to me, and again, I said this in real time last year. He's just not a guy that made people better around him.
Well,
which at that position you have to do that. And so, was he going to take that next step? You know, what's interesting is Kay Klubnik, one year over another, improved greatly. You're in the ACC. You don't have the same type of resistance that you get when you play SEC ball. And thank goodness we opened with Syracuse. I love playing ACC teams. I'd like to play in that league this year. It'd be kind of fun.
Tony, if our offense is as bad as Iowa's, and that product is unacceptable. So it better be better. I don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But it better be better than the Iowa offense. That's all I can say.
Iowa came to mind, and here's why. Because what that coach at Iowa has done down through the years is they've figured out ways to win 8, 9, 10 football games playing that way. That's all I was saying. I'm not trying to say that's what this is going to look like. I'm not saying it's going to look like
I
the
don't
team.
Want to be Iowa.
Well, I mean, that last year, hey, what did Tennessee do last year? They kind of played that way last year.
Iowa's also played a very favorable schedule, being in the Big Ten West all those years.
Sure. Hey, Brian, in college football...
And they've dodged either Michigan or Ohio State every year.
Brian, college football, all you can do is play the games in front of you. And we have a generous schedule. And that's not no apologize for. You can figure out a way to win 9 of those games this year. You're at the hell of a coaching job for everything that's happened to you.
That 2023 Iowa team averaged 16.6 points a game.
Oh, I'm not saying you're going to do that, Dave. I'm not saying you're going to do that. But right now, you have to honestly assess where you are. I mean, this thing is very much a work in progress on offense. And they're behind where they thought they would be. And they knew it was going to be tough. I'm just telling you that's where we are. Doesn't mean it's going to be that way in a month.
Oh, God.
Obviously, teams can grow, people can grow, get your receivers back, get them acclimated. But, hey, the clock is going through, the sand is going through that hourglass, and we still haven't had all 3 receivers. I mean, 2 of them were out today. It's bizarre.
Yeah, well,
you know what I mean? It's really strange.
Take Brazil's car keys away from him and get him on the practice field. You guys have a great day.
Thank you. I like the throat blaming Tennessee for this kid's license thing. Like somebody inside the program should have been you got to monitor these guys' driver's license? I mean, what are we doing? I just kind of reject that. Then again, you do have a million, whatever you want to call these people, assistants or whatever the term is now. What is the term they use for these people? All these different staff. Analyst. I guess maybe you'll have like a
support
DMV,
staffs.
A DMV analyst. Do you have like a DMV analyst?
Passport coach.
Passport coach. Let's go back to the phones. As today, Brazil comes back to practice after the news that broke over the weekend, which the two aren't related. He was going to be back anyway, but it's just, it's just kind of ironic. Gives somebody or something to talk about. Matthews and Staley. Matthews is in a red jersey, didn't no contact today, and Staley wasn't on the practice field. So they continue their streak as we're getting close to halfway through camp. So let's go back to the phones. And the question is, with what you hear and you consider where this team is, what's it do for your expectations? And then the other side of it is, what do you think of this thing that Andy Staples comes up with, where he lists the blue bloods in major college football as Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, LSU, Michigan, Oklahoma, Miami, Notre Dame, Tennessee, Ohio State, Texas, and Southern California, with Auburn, Clemson, Florida, Nebraska, Penn State missing the cut. Let's go back to the phones. And when I look at that list, I look at how fluid major college football is at this point in time. And it looks to me like out of the 12 blue bloods mentioned, I've got Alabama, Georgia, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Texas surely in the playoffs out of that group. I've got 5 of the 12 that are surely in the playoffs. A couple of those teams could get there if things happen. Tennessee's one of them, like Brian and I were talking. And then when you go down to the next 4, I don't think Auburn's getting there. Clemson certainly is. Nebraska's not. Florida's schedule's too hard, and Penn State probably will. So even if you go 16 deep, you've got like 7 teams there, which means there's another 4 slots to go around from the Power 4 leagues, which makes this thing kind of interesting to look at. So let's go back to our phones and get our next call in. Rusty, welcome in.
Hey, did you say it was it Cologne talking about that with Brazil? Was that who said that? Or was
What do you mean?
Who was it? You said something about the whole somebody. One of your guys was saying that it was somebody on the support staff, or somebody at Tennessee dropped the ball and didn't take care of it.
Yeah. Like in my blog today,
Who said it?
our insider Orange Throat wrote that what are we doing where there's a guy driving around without a license on our roster, and I'm going, is that the team's responsibility? I mean, that's ridiculous.
I'd love for him to clarify because that's surprising to hear, but it made me think. All these guys, I guess they do so much for them. I mean, they have have tutors that babysit them. They have player staff that helps them with, getting their uniform clean. I mean, they do so much for them. They probably do have somebody that's checking every player that they're all compliant in all these different ways. So maybe that's what he's talking about. But I'd be interested to hear.
I know, right?
What he meant by that.
I asked for clarification today. Yeah, I agree with that because, in one sense, you would dismiss that outright and say, well, that's an absurd thing to say, right? And then in another sense, you stop and think about it and you go, well, there are 1 million of these support staff people over there. And maybe in that apparatus it does exist that, hey, and maybe going forward, you as you pay these people, you check and say, hey, is everything good with your license? That's just, I don't know. It's where we're in, man.
Yeah, it's crazy how much babysitting has to go on.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. That's a decent list of blue bloods. I think it's probably pretty right. Clemson's probably or Penn State's the next closest, but Penn State just hasn't won anything of significance since I guess 1988, and that was a very strange time of football back then. We were having BYU's and Georgia Tech's and Colorado's and teams win national championships in that era.
Mm-hmm.
And West Virginia's played for national championships in that era.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
So it was a different time. So I guess Clemson's not meeting the criteria is they don't have enough wins or a high enough winning percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Probably because they've been so mediocre so many times. I will say this. I think all 12 of those teams, and probably the teams on the bottom of the list that didn't quite make it, except Auburn, I think all those teams are playoff hopefuls. I think Florida State's a playoff hopeful. I mean, they went undefeated 2 years ago, then they were horrible last year. There's no reason they can't bounce back and in that ACC win 10 ball games.
That's a good point.
They crushed in the portal. They got the quarterback from Boston College that was really, really good last year, the Castellanos kid.
Mm-hmm.
They easily could. I mean, they got rid of Ua Ungagale and brought in the Castellanos kid who's really good. So, I mean, in this era, you can be night and day, bad to good, good to bad in one off season.
And it's really hard for us. And that's why, like, when I hear what I hear out of camp, right, and I share it with people because I'm going to share it with people. And so you almost have to go, okay, well, Florida State, who plays at the beginning of the year with Alabama, both teams are breaking in new quarterbacks. Who the hell knows what's going to happen in that game? Alabama's got a better football team. Castellano guy goes out there and lights it up. All of a sudden, and that's a game being played in Tallahassee. That's an anything can happen football game. Georgia, they're breaking in a new quarterback, but we think they're going to be a playoff team. Oklahoma, and I've been paying attention to stuff out of Oklahoma's camp. Oklahoma, you hear the stuff coming out, and that's the other thing. The stuff coming out of these camps, kind of like how reliable is it? Who the hell knows?
Who knows?
And so, but it's interesting to think about. But it's weird that Tennessee can't get those
probably
receivers.
The least likely now that you mention it because their schedule is brutal.
Oh, it's hard. Yeah. Ours is so generous, Rusty. Our schedule.
It is.
Is such a layup if Nico would have come back.
It's more generous than last year. It's even more generous than last year. The only bad thing is we still play Georgia, but we get them at home. But I still don't think that's possible. And instead of having Florida, Alabama, and Knoxville, you got them both on the road. But you get Oklahoma at home, you get Arkansas at home. So those are your 5 toughest opponents. It's it's probably an easier schedule than last year, except for swapping the homes of Florida and Bama and Georgia. I would assume this offense is going to be as good as last year. That's my guess. I don't think it can be worse than last year. I mean, we're going to run. Josh Heupel's going to run the football well with that stable of backs and probably a better offensive line than last year. And the quarterback play, if it's bad, will still be as good as last year. So I don't know if the defense is as good or better than last year or worse, whatever. But I would assume the team is similar to last year's team in quality across the board, and you end up 9-3 instead of 10-2 this year. That's the likelihood.
To me, the more I look at that schedule, I say to myself, like, what's your floor, right? Because every time I think about that offense, I'm just kind of going, okay, worst case scenario. Even if you're just kind of lame offensively, you're still going to have enough to win 7 games against that schedule. You just are.
Think about this, Tony. We've had the stumble. We called the Missouri game when Milton was quarterback a stumble, but that really wasn't. That was a good Missouri team. But we had the Arkansas stumble last year where we just couldn't hit the plays that were in front of us, and we roughed a punter for some reason. And we had the South Carolina game. But look at this year's. The 4 games between Oklahoma, Georgia, Bama, and whoever the other one, Oklahoma, Georgia, Bama, and Florida, those are losable football games. Those are really, I mean, like 3 of them are you should lose, 1 of them is a toss-up. Those 4. But the other 8, tell me which of those other 8 games that's a stumbling block that you feel like there's a way that without chaos, Tennessee shouldn't win all those ball games by like 20.
It's crazy. Right.
There's not one. All 8 of those. Me and a couple guys. Lee was with us talking the other day about which one of those games could we find a way to lose, and there's nothing even remotely close to as tough as the Arkansas game last year.
No. But I guess at the end of the day, the thing that makes college football so interesting is who knows? Is there somebody on that schedule that's going to come out of nowhere and have a really good, better than we think team, sort of what South Carolina did last year. South Carolina looked like a 500 team. The season starts, they find something at quarterback, they plug in a couple extra guys, they brought in a couple of transfers that they hit on that played, a couple other guys got better on their roster, and all of a sudden you're looking at, oh my gosh, I'm glad they're not on our schedule. Who would have said that going into last season? But,
maybe Kentucky is Indiana from last year.
Maybe. Who knows?
Who knows? I think Nebraska is going to be Indiana of last year. I think Nebraska is going to have a good season. I think this year 3 of Matt Rule and the second year of the quarterback, who I think is actually a pretty good player, fake Pat Mahomes, but I think he's going to be pretty good this year. And I think it's got to come back to them where they've lost 20 straight 1-possession ball games. I think it's going to go the other way, and they're going to find a way to squeak 9 or 10 wins.
That would not bother me because that's a fan base that deserves to win.
They deserve it.
They deserve it. The kind of like we deserve it. They deserve it. We deserve it.
For sure.
And
I
appreciate the call. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Later, buddy.
I like Negative jumping me and killing me. I think that's kind of rich, which is fine. But I'm just sharing with you what I'm hearing, trying not to overreact. But you are talking to a person who hasn't had a decent night's sleep in 3.5 weeks. So there is also that with the back issue that I'm going through, and I'll be back on the traction table this afternoon. I'm greatly looking forward to that. So I've got 2 doctor's appointments today. I would not recommend the sleep deprivation piece of this to anybody. It's pretty brutal. It's pretty tough. That said, there are people listening to me who are going through a lot worse. So, believe me, I understand that. 865-200-5402. The Brazil thing, I'm just not blowing it out of proportion. The kid's not, I don't think he's a bad kid. I don't think he's going to, wow you with his work ethic. But I don't think he's a bad kid. He's not somebody that, in the off season, I personally ever pretend on the air like he's going to make some great step, because I think at this level, I think you've got to have a little hunger to go out and get it. I mean, you can be talented, and that's good, but he's not that talented. He's a pretty good player, though. But I wouldn't count on him making a big jump. And that thing that happened to him is kind of indicative of that. If I get stopped, I'll just pull out my passport. Okay. Well, I mean, at least he's not like a sovereign citizen. Those of you that follow the sovereign citizens online and know what I'm talking about. Or watching the On Patrol Live. I love the sovereign citizens. I'm traveling. Oh, that's nice. You're traveling. Yeah, I don't need a license. So if you're a sovereign citizen, you're listening to me. I'm not knocking you, but unfortunately, you're under the jurisdiction of law, just like I am. The rule of law, just like I am. So, just like Brazil is. We kind of have to have a driver's license. It's what we call a privilege, not a right, and it sort of is what it is. Hour number 2 will commence at 865-200-5402. If you want to get in the hunt, in the mix with you, here's a question. Do you, as you hear, stuff coming out of camp, look, it would be great if we heard that Joey Football and these receivers were connecting and making deep plays and hitting the deep ball. You're just not hearing that. Not yet, anyway. And I do think that Joey Football is going to be your quarterback because I don't think Merklinger has had a good camp at all. And Joey Aguilar is just kind of learning. He's just trying to, this is very much a work in progress. I'll give you a good bright spot, though. 3 of them from over the weekend. The tight ends are very good. Strength of your offense. The tackle play was very good on offense. And both guys. Hurd is a different player this year. And then the third piece is the defense is going to be very, very, very good. So, but the rest of it, the thing about playing in today's age is quarterback play. You've got to have some quarterback play. You've got to have some quarterback play. Some. That's all. And, if Dave, when I guess I triggered Dave when I said an Iowa-ish type of offense. I'm not trying to trigger anybody, but that's kind of what Tennessee did last year. They ran the ball, kept teams in front of them, didn't rely too much on Nico, didn't rely too much on the wideouts as the year unfolded, played it close to the vest, played field position football, and scratched out 10 wins. And then when you get on the field with a team like Ohio State that can boat race you, you get boat raced. But how many teams on your schedule can do that to you? That's all. I don't think it's a crime to be very good defensively, personally. But it's just a matter of, like Rusty said, you look at that schedule and you go, how many teams potentially can beat you? And I mean, it looks to me like your floor is 7 wins. Your floor. I don't know what the ceiling is. 9, maybe? 9? If you win 9 games, it's a great coaching job. If you win 10, it's unfreaking real. Unreal. So your thoughts on that. And then this blue blood deal. I'll come back and we'll get into that list again. Tennessee's made the list of the blue bloods, which is why year after year in this fan base, we should think about making the playoffs. Year after year in a 12-team playoff, you should be thinking about making the playoffs each year. We come back on the other side, 865-200-5402. Hour number 2, your thoughts on those topics after this.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Hey, Tony B listeners, I'm Billy from Grade A Grounds, a UT grad bringing Knoxville a better way to raise money. We roast premium coffee fully branded for your team or cause. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% to local needs. Let's win on and off the field. Visit gradeagrounds.com to start your winning fundraiser today.
Living Vol fan, we're on the countdown to kickoff, and that means you need to make sure you are game ready. Head to Alumni Hall to get this season's Tennessee sideline apparel. Nike, Columbia, Peter Millar, and more. Shop top brands for the entire family. Hats, Yeti, tailgating gear, and so much more. If it's for the Tennessee fan, Alumni Hall has it. Spend $150 and get $10 in Hall cash rewards. Shop at alumnihall.com. Download their app or shop any of their locations in Knoxville, Murfreesboro, or the Tri-Cities. Alumni Hall, the ultimate shopping destination for Vol fans.
It's the hottest post-game show on the planet. Garza Law, fifth quarter fan reaction. Fan reaction. As soon as the final gun sounds, we're live.
Tony Basilio, and we are live once again with Chad Stockton of FC Alliance. And Chad, you're out there on the field, 100 strong here in Knoxville. Talk to me. What's been going on with FC Alliance now that the weather's heating up?
We're out here for the first night of the boys' tryouts. We have over 400 kids that'll be here tonight. So a lot of exciting times right now for us. Our club teams start at U9 and we go all the way through U19. We have over 1,000 kids that come from Chattanooga from the Tri-Cities that make all our teams and make this club what it is today. So we're excited about it. We finished the younger kids a couple of weeks ago. We just finished the girls last night, and now we're on to our older boys program as we speak right now.
And we're blowing and going in the Tri-Cities. Tell me about it.
We started FC Alliance North 1 year ago, and coming off the first year, we're the largest, most competitive club up in the Tri-Cities area. We just finished our tryouts last night. Looks like right now we will be well over 400 kids for the upcoming season. So great things happening up there. We've put our boys into some really good regional leagues. So we're excited about what the future holds for them and also our girls programs.
If you want more information, check them out at fcallianceknox.org. That's fcallianceknox.org. Chad Stockton, keep growing the beautiful game here in East Tennessee.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tony.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Tony Basilio along with the great Mark Griffin. And we're here to talk about our friends at Performance Medicine. And Griff, their slogan, stay educated, stay healthy. That's you.
Wow. I really like to think that, Tony, and I'd like to give Dr. Rogers a lot of credit because I definitely want to stay educated and healthy, and knowing that he's putting the time and effort in to make sure of my care. I want to encourage your listeners to put the time to learn and become educated and get to know Dr. Rogers and see if it can help with your health as well.
And there's a really, really easy way to do that. In fact, they've got their own YouTube channel. You can see Dr. Rogers for himself with his staff. It's called The Performance Medicine Show over at the Performance Medicine channel over on YouTube. Also, more information at performancemedicine.net. To our friends in North Knoxville, a brand new location over in Fountain City, now accepting patients. So many ways to reach Dr. Rogers. And like they say, stay educated, stay healthy. Performance Medicine, online, performancemedicine.net. TB here for Cedar Bluff Plumbing, a live and local company that's been serving our area for over 32 years and counting because every customer counts, and I mean no job is too small. Cedar Bluff Plumbing just voted #1 by City View magazine because multiple plumbing experts are on call to serve all your plumbing needs. Chances are there'll be a plumber in your area when you call, and they won't send some salesman to your house. You're going to get a high character, trustworthy, highly trained plumber who will serve you. Not like some of these guys that look like they came off the set of America's Most Wanted. Cedar Bluff Plumbing is Basilio tested and approved and will go the extra mile for you because Chucky Mack is a servant of the people and my consigliere to the throne, celebrating over 32 years of serving living volunteers. Cedar Bluff Plumbing. Call 588-4448. That's 588-4448. Cedar Bluff Plumbing.
Attention Vol fans, are you tired of complicated, clunky fleet technology that makes your job harder? Say goodbye to frustration and hello to Connexial, your hometown partner in logistics. It's time to rev up your operations with next level fleet management from Connexial. Connexial is here to keep your business on track with technology that works as hard as you do. Our game-changing ELD gives you more than just hours of service. With AI-powered dash cameras and real-time asset tracking, you'll have eyes on the road, cargo, and your fleet from anywhere, anytime. And the best part, our friendly US-based customer support team is just one phone call away. No more long wait times or frustrating tech talk. Just real people with real solutions. With Connexial, you get a professional team you can trust and easy-to-use products that keep you on the road. What do you say, Tony?
I'm ready. Make the smart move and call Connexial today.
865-888-6920. Learn more at Connexial.com. That's Konexial.com. Drive life with Connexial and go Vols.
Basilio here, and my friends at Carnes Motor Company started with a dream over a quarter century ago. I met Rob and Brian back when I still had hair, and they were working at a huge dealership in West Knoxville. But they told me back then they wanted to sell cars on their terms, and I wanted to do radio on my terms. Their terms, just like my terms, are ultimately your terms. In both cases, you're the winner. A Car Guru's National Award winner with a 5-star rating on all sites, just like our Vols. Everything about buying a car from Carnes Motor Company is no hassle. They specialize in high-quality pre-owned vehicles between the $5,000 to $25,000 range, and if you need to sell a car, they'll either buy your car or they'll help you sell it. Carnes Motor Company also has a top-notch service department. Therefore, every vehicle is rigorously inspected and serviced prior to delivery, so you're guaranteed to get a quality pre-owned vehicle every time. If you need a place for service, they've got you covered. Come be a part of the Carnes Motor Company family and tell them you heard about it from B. Online at carnesmotor.com, Oak Ridge Highway, 1 mile past the Carnes light. Carnes Motor Company.
Yeehaw! Some people say betting online is still the wild, wild west. But with the VIP Play app, you're riding with the best. VIP Play app is hotter than a $2 pistol packed with flair. Live hosts and features finer than a frog hair. Send your old betting problems out of town with a slap. You'll be betting sharp as a tack on the VIP Play app.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 plus and located in Tennessee to bet.
It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to B. Be back with you, 865-200-5402, as we welcome you back in hour 2. On your radio, another day, getting you through August. 18 days out, that's crazy to me. Week and a half away from our first college football of the season. Utterly insane. To the phones we go. Look, I love my football. I've been watching some CFL. I'm not going to sit there and watch NFL exhibition games or whatever they're called. Preseason game, whatever they call these things. I'm pretty hard up, but I'm not that hard up. Let's go to the phones. 865-200-5402. The question for you is you hear the stuff coming out about camp, and on offense so far it's not pretty. I'm not going to overreact to it simply because it is what it is. We knew this coming in. Look, if they can get Joey Aguilar off the scrap heap and strike gold, it would be a great story. Chances are, that's not going to happen. Chances are. And so you're going to have to figure out a way to win football games. Because I'm telling you, the Merklinger guy is not playing well. Now, I can tell you that. The Aguilar guy, that he's not where he needs to be at this point is not surprising. The fact that your wide receivers haven't been on the field together not one time through a couple weeks now is not how this is supposed to go. So I'm just trying to give to you what we have, what we kind of feel like this team is. It doesn't mean that's what they're going to be in 5 weeks, but at this point in time, the snapshot is there's a long way to go on offense. And then the second thing that we're kind of kicking around here is that Tennessee's presence in college football, even though they took a decade and a half away from the deal, today Andy Staples threw the college blue blood programs out there, and this is just something fun to think about. But he's got Alabama, Florida State, Georgia, and LSU, Michigan, Oklahoma, Miami, in Notre Dame, Tennessee, Ohio State, Texas, and USC. And then missing the cut, Auburn, Clemson, Florida, Nebraska, Penn State. So,
the AP poll has been released, and the Vols check in at number 24.
Wow.
Texas is 1, Penn State 2, Ohio State 3, Clemson 4, Georgia 5. Alabama's 8, Florida is 15th.
Wow.
Texas Tech and Iowa State are above Tennessee. Boise State is 25.
So Vols number 24. That sounds about right. 24, Bri, that connotes a team that's tracking for like an 8-4 type year. That's about right.
Yeah, I can't argue with.
No, I'm not going to argue with that.
Anything below 15, I can't argue with.
I agree with that.
Anywhere between 15 and 30, 15 and 35, I can't argue with at all.
And anything can happen from that regard. Let's go to the phones. I think that's pretty fairly put. And let's get Rustic one in here, followed by Richard. And if you want to jump in, 865-200-5402. And I just ask you, the stuff you hear come out of camp, do you adjust your feelings on the upcoming year, or is this thing just so schedule dependent that you're just kind of locked into what we're going to experience here this fall? Rustic one, welcome in. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, Tony. How you doing?
Man, I'm hanging.
Good. Well, I hope you can get some sleep this week. Tony, I'm not like quite ready to totally adjust my expectations, but I'm giving it some thought. Mm-hmm. You've already hit on it, but none of the struggles in the passing game should be at all surprising, given that, like you just said, you have 3 wide receivers with very limited experience between them. I mean, 2 of them with basically no college experience. And you just handed them the 3 starting positions in the offseason, and now none of them are practicing. So I don't know how you'd expect the passing game not to struggle, really, regardless of who the quarterback is.
Yeah, I think that's right. And look, if you would have brought Nico back and that would have been the case with your wide receivers, okay, fine. Like we all would have said, okay, who cares? Because you're going to play games and these guys all know each other and they understand, each other's tendencies and this, that, and the other. But that you've got what you've got at wide receiver, and I'm not saying there's nothing there. That's not a fair thing to say. Like, look, the fact that those guys have missed so much time has opened it up for the Rendarius Jacksons of the world. And 2 of the kids made nice plays over the weekend. But are they going to do enough between now and then to get into the rotation, which is what we've seen here? Because you're either in the rotation or you're not here, and the rotation is not very wide in scope. This year, you hope you've got 3 that are pretty good, though. That's kind of what you're hoping. Instead of in years past where how am I going to shorten it? The strength of your offense is a tight end. It just is.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds like a nice position. And, it felt like the term 12 personnel was thrown around nonstop last year. And I guess we'll expect to hear it again this season. But you'd mentioned the freshmen doing enough to kind of earn their way into that rotation. But, Tony, they may be there by default because – I mentioned the 3 guys that everybody penciled in as starters. I mean, Staley dealing with a hamstring issue, those are tricky. and we're
Yes.
2.5 weeks from playing football, and Brazel hadn't really practiced a ton. And so one of those two freshmen may be out there in the starting lineup just by default, if nothing else.
And that's not what you wanted, if you're them, especially not with an Aguilar who he's going to be your quarterback. Now, how long that remains the case, goodness knows. But I guess Dave clapping at me last hour just was not on my Singo card as if I did it, Rustic One. I haven't done this. I'm simply talking about it. I didn't. Wasn't my idea to not have our wide receivers on the field one time together with each other in camp. I mean, you can't make that up, man. That's just not good.
No, and what people expect you to do? I mean, you're on the air for at least 2 hours every day talking about Tennessee sports, and that's Tennessee football in August. And, I read the other websites. I'm on VolQuest. Like, those guys aren't pumping sunshine either. I don't think anybody's spinning this as like, wow, let's book our tickets to the national championship. But, if you want to look at it positively, then get excited about our defense. That sounds great.
Sure.
That's a beautiful thing about scrimmages is you can look at them either which way you want. But I think everybody assumed we'd have a pretty good defense, and folks were more hopeful that we'd have a functional offense. And I still think we will, but I think for those of us that hoped we'd get back to the days of slinging it around and the big splash plays, I don't know. That may have to wait for 2026 at this point.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is that how many splash plays do you need to make? Because they're going to take shots, right? So, and this kid, if Aguilar is able to hang in there, he throws a pretty nice deep ball. We do know that about him. But somewhere along the way, they're going to have to figure out how to get him from, like what was reported over the weekend, which was that he threw a pick that was, one that was taken back. You've got to avoid that kind of stuff when you're going to play with the play on the margins that we're going to play with this year. Because when you're defensive oriented, you can't give up scores going the other way. You just can't do that, man.
I agree. Now, the one counter to that would be you look at Heupel's offenses both at Tennessee and you can even look back at Missouri and UCF, and the quarterbacks have really never turned the ball over much.
Right.
Because typically he's scheming guys open.
Right.
But, yeah, you're right. Look, if you're playing another game that's close like in Arkansas or Oklahoma or the Florida game was last year, one big turnover can make the difference there. I mean, based on what I'm hearing, I'd advocate for running Aguilar like a crash test dummy once we start playing, to be totally honest.
You mean just running around, just trying to make plays?
I mean, not just running around, but, I think last time I called in a few weeks ago, we talked about that being something that was missing from the offense last year outside of the splash plays was the quarterback runs.
Yes.
And you've seen that be really effective in this offense. So I don't want him, playing Johnny Manziel back there, but yeah, I'd like to see some more designed runs. I mean, if you got a quarterback that doesn't exactly wow you passing the ball in fall camp, then set him loose running and, see what kind of dimension that adds back to the offense.
The other thing that I think's real intriguing, just thinking about how the camp's playing out, is this McIntyre guy is a nice prospect. He's going to be a really nice player, I think. Now, is it going to be here? I don't know. That's the thing about the modern game. In today's game, there are no secrets. People out there on other rosters know that Tennessee's got a 5-star kid coming in next year, and now they're going to have a kind of a situation, which is a good first world situation to have. It becomes more and more difficult to keep a couple of those guys on your roster, especially year after next. And the thing that comes to mind is the backup at Penn State who played very sparingly, who's going to be the quarterback this year at Missouri. These guys are people know who's out there, because I hear really, really good things about him. That he's showing a lot of arm talent. He's showing a lot of aptitude for it. He's just physically not ready to get hit at this level. And that's,
So, Tony, you think they've ruled him out completely as a potential starter? I seem to think that as well, but is that what you think?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and if that's the case, and I'm not going to argue with them necessarily, if that's the case, I don't know that you wait around much longer to name Aguilar the starter. I mean, maybe you're waiting through this next scrimmage on Saturday, but if Merklinger's struggled as much as it sounds like he has, and if Aguilar already has a leg up on him with experience in college football, then I mean, at some point I'd just say, guys, this is our starter. Let's rally around him. Let's get him all the reps.
I think you're right. It's going to be two things going to be interesting. What are they going to do on the offensive line in terms of the shift? Because it sounds like they were setting it up to and then Satterwhite with the struggles over the weekend. It sounds like they're heading in that direction right now. I think this next scrimmage there's going to be kind of a definitive something or other that we're going to learn. But you know, Rustic, when I think people hear this as negativity, it's not. It's just there's a ton of moving parts on that offense. And I think they're a little behind. This is what I was told last night. They're a little behind where they thought they would be right now. And they knew it was going to be a work in progress. But the interior of the line performing the way it did the other day was something that they know they've got to fix. So there's just, think about it now. You've got questions at wide receiver. Those guys have not been on the field all at once. It's a great sign to hear that the tackles were really good the other day. I think that's personally, and I take that as great news. They say the Hurd kid looks totally, completely different than he did last year. Completely different. And the kid from the Carolinas, the Sanders kid, is going to be a really, really nice player from day one. Your tight ends are soft. We know that's a strength of your team. You know they're going to be able to run the ball. No matter who they have back there, they're going to be able to run the ball.
Yep.
But it becomes a real quandary when you start talking about a quarterback issue along with at least wide receivers not having the time to get in camp that you would want for them to get acclimated together. Hey, thank goodness you got Syracuse to open the season and not one of what I call some of these real openers. Like I would hate to have Michigan in week 2 like Oklahoma does, or even Florida State for that matter. Like Rusty was saying, this Syracuse team is kind of a bottom feeder. Thank God that's your opener,
I agree. Well, Tony, I'll get out of here on this because you were just mentioning the tackle position, and to bring it back to the idea of the receivers not getting reps, it's starting to remind me of the tackle position last year where John Campbell was having these, quote, maintenance days and was basically not taking live reps, and Lance Hurd was getting acclimated. And it showed in September. I mean, it showed from a conditioning and a tempo standpoint, and those guys were not very sharp. They kind of got it together later in the season.
Yep.
But that's my worry with the wide receiver core is like it takes those guys a little too long to ramp up to full game speed.
Thank you, Rustic One. And he brings me to another thought, which is I'm watching a debate today on ESPN, and granted, when you're not sleeping like I am, you have so much more opportunity to consume things, okay? But this preseason football stuff, for the past several years, those of you who follow the sport at that level know that frontline quarterbacks were not playing in these games. Now teams are starting to play them. And the reason they're starting to play them is that there's a line you cross. Now, I don't want to put a starting quarterback out there and get him hurt, but they were criticizing the Bears for not playing the Williams kid at all over the weekend, while the Dolphins in their game took Tagovailoa and put him out there. There's more than one way to skin a cat, but I saw the Tannenbaum guy on ESPN say today, hey, you got to get on a field and you got to get guys time with their wide receivers. In a game situation, it's a very important thing, even at that level, among professionals. And if that's the case there, surely that's the case here. That's all. Surely that's the case here, if that's the case there. But this college football thing is such that what you think is going to happen now and what the sport looks like 5 weeks into the season are going to be two completely different things. And I think that's what makes it interesting. I was telling Bino the other day, in a lot of ways, the sport's so much more dynamic now from that perspective than it was 15, 20 years ago. And back then it was a sport of improbability and odd things happening week to week. And the old saying goes, who knows what 18 to 22-year-olds are going to do from week to week. Now you've introduced more instability into it. And Tennessee, look, all politics are local, and it's what we talk about. But that's going on in a lot of places, what's going on here. Now, we hyper-focus on it here, but that goes on in a lot of places. So there's always perspective to this. But their offense has been rough in camp early on. In fact, really rough, truth be told. Back to the phones we go. And I said earlier, they might have to have, when I look at this season, and I probably shouldn't have said it out loud, but I'm going to say it again. I don't want to be taken out of context. But it might be one of those deals where you've got an Iowa-type team where you play fundamentally sound football, you play field position football, you rely on your defense to win you, 8 games on your schedule, and, if a couple things break right, you win 9, maybe you win 10. But you're not going to wow people. And maybe that's what this thing is. Now I got just jumped by Negadave, who was just hammering me. Maybe it didn't come out the way I wanted it to come out, but they've got it. They've got the makings of a nice team from the perspective of, I think the floor is 7 wins. I think that's the floor. It's not terrible. If you went out and you go 8-4, after making the playoffs last year, I don't think that's like a depression level. I think that's realistic. I agree with Brian. When you look at that rating, and Tennessee's 24 in that coaches poll that just came out, or the AP poll rather, anywhere between something like 15 to 30 something to me would make sense. If you're like 16, 17, you're telling me you're 9-3, something like that. Hey, that would be you got my vote, man. You do that, you got my vote. And then you could lose 5 games. You could. I don't know why that's why that would send somebody into depression. You think this team's competing for a national championship this year? Because I'm just not going to lie to you. Because they're not. I'm not going to lie to you. And I'm not going to lie to myself. Why would we do that? And then if we do that, and we're on here lying to you about the way the offense looks in camp, and then when they get off to a rough start to begin the year, and then we'll be killing the head coach and killing the offensive coordinator on post-game shows and in the blog and on these boards. And why? Why not just kind of call it what it is in real time? It's a work in progress. There's nothing wrong with that. But let's go back to our phones. And we get Richard in here, who's up next with us. Richard, welcome in.
Hey, Tony, what's up?
Hey, buddy.
All right, man. I tell you what, wonderful, wonderful show. Good to get some practice notes and scrimmage notes coming from y'all, and talking about what's going on, and first of all, discussing offensive line play and understanding exactly where they are at the moment, and the fact that you got 4 new guys breaking in with 1 starter back, and again, the offensive line cohesiveness and playing together as a unit is something that takes time and takes reps. And I am glad that we have a front 7 that is very, very good, that our coaching staff can throw out there in a scrimmage and just get after them really, really well, because the only way those guys get better playing together, and it's not a physical thing they don't have, but to develop the chemistry to play together and understand when a guy's blitzing or a guy is gapping here and you got to squeeze down here, is you got to have live bullets in practice. And these teams that don't practice hard against their offensive lines, they're the ones you see really struggle throughout the year offensively, because the guys are just not tested, Tony. And so I'm glad that these guys are getting baptized in practice because that's the only way you get better.
Well, and Richard, I was told like over the weekend in that scrimmage, which again, people take us out of context, and that's fine. But they were having to blow that whistle so much so quickly on several snaps because guys were just getting blown up because if you're going against a world-class defender at this level who knows his role, knows where he's and there's just an offensive line-wise, you're just a tick-off timing-wise, Richard. The plays are going to get blown up. That's what's going to happen.
Absolutely. I remember one year that we started two sophomores, and we had a really good football team, but we threw two young kids. They were the most talented kids, but we threw them after Tony. The only way they got better for each game was you had to hammer them. You had to test them. You had to show them on film. The only way Ellaby can get this group better is they got to go to the film and say, well, look what you did wrong here when this guy did this. And it's the only way they get better. Because I can promise you this, Tony, Syracuse doesn't throw anywhere close to the front seven.
Hell no. No, in fact, and C said this last week, and I went and looked it up the other day, but he's exactly right. Texas came out of their camp in the post-spring portal and went and bought Syracuse's best player right out from under them, their best defensive lineman. And Syracuse basically, they weren't very good to begin with, but that's the luxury that the Texas Longhorns have. They're thinking national title, and they went right out there, and that has to make that Brown guy just absolutely sick at his stomach to wake up and realize, oh, Texas has taken our best defensive player now, an interior defensive lineman.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that guy's just he's coaching for his next job. He's just hoping to get, good enough results to get to move up back in order. So,
yep.
But again, overall, quarterback play. Yeah, it sounds like to me that Aguilar is the guy they know he's going to be, especially if Mark Linger, who is the more experienced in our offense, isn't beating him in practice. Then it's a pretty no-brainer as far as what you're going to have going forward. On that, again, just got to get better at coaching him, understanding what he's had. And you also got to stress to him, Tony, that last year I went back and just watched some of the Appalachian State games, Tony. Their defense was atrocious. Tony, I think Nico would have scored 70 on that defense.
He had an awful team around him. For as good as they were, for as long as they were, when Jerry Moore was there, and then into the periods of some of the other coaches, you talk about a deal that, and they're a very proud community up there of their program at various levels as they've grown that thing. That had to be a total eyesore to those people because they bottomed that deal out last year. And the kid was playing from behind for a lot of the year, like people who said that, or they were, he was trying to make a play late in the game. But Richard, the thing that we got to get out of him is throwing these routes where, making good decisions on the field and learning how to just eat the ball or just throw it away. That's going to be, and that's hard for a kid like him because he wants to compete on every play.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Understand it. But I'm glad that, hopefully they'll continue to get better. I'm glad Brazel's back on the field. He needs to get back on the field because when Tony, regardless of him being a knucklehead, that offense needs him. I was went back and watched a couple of games, the Florida and Alabama games, and the inconsistency of Brazel last year was he didn't show up in some games, but when he did show up, like the Florida game, he was the best receiver on the field for us last year in a couple of games. And they've got to have him. He's got to be healthy. He's got to be on there because that passing game is going to need him because he is the experience.
And what's wild about him is, which shows you, he's got that ability, which is why they have kind of kept him around, but he's just not a 100% dialed-in guy. So from guys like him, Richard, you're going to kind of get what you get. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, and it like I said, this is going to be an offense with 4 tight ends because they love the 2 freshman tight ends.
Yes.
They're going to play 4 tight ends.
Yes.
They're going to play 4 running backs, and they're going to run the ball. They're going to throw to their tight ends, and they're going to try to hit home run plays down the field. Hey, and last, we know G-Mac's not ready physically for this year, but Tony, coming before he got dropped by the ratings, he was an elite 5-star quarterback in his junior year. And you've heard how Watson Brown's talked about him. Watson loves him as a player. The kid's got all the talent in the world. He's just got to get more physically ready for the SEC. But I'm telling you, Tony, lights out in the future for him.
They say he is really going to be a nice player. And look, you know, it's going to be a fight because when you bring your 5-star kid in, he'll have people knocking on his door because that's the way this thing works now. And you
oh yeah,
look, that's a first world problem to have. But everything I hear about him is extremely positive. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he's an option to start at quarterback this year because you'll get that kid hurt at this level.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So,
bring him on slowly. All right, guys. Well, appreciate
thank you, brother.
the conversation.
Good talking to you. Yeah, and I just think that there are shades of this, right? The more we talk about it, because your schedule is such that I'm not sure how much you move. Brian Hartman was talking about the fact that the AP poll is out. And, Brian, where did you say Alabama was in that poll? Because if they're ranked 8 or lower, that'll be the lowest they've been since the Saban era.
They are 8th.
Wow. It's pretty sobering to them. That's pretty sobering to the living Alabama fan out there. That puts a little bit of extra pressure on who I think is a pretty good coach there. I think DeBoer is going to win games there. He gets his offensive coordinator back. I'm buying as much Alabama stock as you want to sell me right now, which I'm probably putting the hex on them, but I'm going to buy some Alabama stock with you here. 865-200. 5402 is the number if you want to get in. As we hear some of the stuff about Tennessee's camp, it's been kind of ugly on offense, but they do have some bright spots. I'm not saying the offense is horrible because you've had some guys take a step in camp, but it's just that of the two units, defensively, the strength of the team is defense. It's not even close. As a friend of mine just texted me, he said, why don't fans give Heupel credit for having a very good defense? Why is it all about the offense? Why are people all fixated on the offense? And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know what the answer to that is. I guess people want to be entertained. See, I'm somebody that thinks low-scoring games are entertaining, though. Just my nature. The Phillies played a couple real close to the vest, low-scoring games in this last little streak they've had last week or so, and I find myself just going, man, baseball's such an interesting game in a 3-2 game. It's just every pitch matters. Every decision on the field matters. Everything that happens from a fielding perspective matters. Bang, bang plays. Or even if you make an error in a situation like that. Or maybe a relief pitcher comes in and has a guy 0-2 and loses him and walks him, everything in a low-scoring game becomes magnified. It is interesting to think about how on Tennessee's team, they're pretty defensive oriented right now at this point in time, and look to be a pretty strong defensive team. But your head coach, when he's being dubbed a couple years ago a young Steve Spurrier, and then his offense is pacing behind, he doesn't get the love for having a great defense. None of us thought this was going to happen with the defense. None of us. It's more conducive, though, if you're built this way, it's more conducive to compete for playoff spots than the other way. I mean, that's certainly I think that's an accurate thing to say out loud. I mean, if you could choose, if you're excellent defensively, what do they say? Defense wins championships. It certainly competes for playoff spots. There's no question. And when you have the schedule Tennessee has, it certainly becomes accurate. But we have a lot to kick around. Very little time to get there. I only have 2 doctor's appointments this afternoon, so I'm jumping off. There will be no TLD Logistics overtime today. Not presented by our friends at TLD Logistics, online at tldlogistics.com. On a Monday program, our camp notes, if you want to go over to tclub.team and check out our blog, we kind of talk about and sort of share with you what we're hearing. And again, I'm not encumbered. I'm not worried about who, we upset with that stuff. I kind of put some opinion in there. I try not to hot take. I mean, why do that? Just some conclusions, or not conclusions, but just some nuggets, some snooze and snotes out of camp over the weekend and the scrimmage. And the second scrimmage coming up, one would think the offense takes a step. Rustic one brought up a great point, which is, when do you name Joey Aguilar your starting quarterback? Because, by the way, Joey Aguilar, I'm here to tell you, is going to be your starting quarterback. So we continue with more on the other side right after this.
Guests appear on the TLD Logistics Hotline, online at tldlogistics.com.
Whether it's baseball, football, softball, church groups, or schools, if you're raising money, do it with locally roasted Grade A Grounds coffee. I'm Billy Miller, a Vol alum and Knoxville native. You keep 40% of sales, and we donate 5% back to our East Tennessee community. Get started today by visiting our website at gradeagrounds.com.
Although summer is almost over, the last thing you want during sweltering heat is a broken air conditioner or HVAC system. That means it's more important than ever to keep you and your family comfortable and safe during extreme East Tennessee weather. Don't ignore the warning signs that your AC is struggling or nearing the end of its lifespan. And if you need emergency HVAC repairs, routine preventative maintenance, or want to invest in a new system, then call the trusted HVAC experts at Pipe Wrench Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. This month, get up to a $1,000 discount when you buy and install a new air conditioner or HVAC system. We make it easy with free on-site estimates for replacements and free second opinions on repairs. And if budgets are tight, we offer flexible payment plans including 0% financing with credit approval. Be sure to ask about our 10-plus year warranties that are 2 times longer than industry standards, so you don't spend a cent on unexpected costs in the future. So call Pipe Wrench at 865-264-8090 or book online at pipewrench.com to schedule your appointment today. And as always, same-day service guaranteed, or the visit is free.
Hi, I'm Jim Simpson, owner of Simpson Meats. When's the last time you grilled a really good burger or steak? One your friends still talk about. Our goal at Simpson Meats is to make that happen every time you have a cookout. All of our cuts of meats, steaks, burgers, briskets, and pork are always fresh, flavorful, and sustainably sourced. We are family owned, so we know the importance of knowing how and where your food is raised. We have been putting quality first since 1888. Visit our butcher shop off Lovell Road or online at simpsonmeats.com.
Life never stops moving. And between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, weekly soccer practice, Tuesday night yoga, X number of coffee runs, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up. A tire designed for doers. A tire that's going to last. Like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety and comfort you expect, you can forget all about the miles ahead and focus on getting to your destination or conquering your to-do list. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. That's Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire. Basilio here for Budget Transmissions. TGMD, the great Matt Dixon, took his Ford Escape to budget, and like our gold bullet back in the day, it was a total mess. And now, Matt's back in the game. He's got a new transmission, axle, wheel bearing, both radiator hoses, engine mounts, coolant hoses. I mean, his Ford Escape was about to escape to the junkyard, but he didn't begrudge it. He took it to budget, and now he's on his way back to Omaha. Budget Transmissions, over 30 years in business, conveniently located in Bearden. All extended service contracts are honored. A gold certified Repair Pal member. 865-584-4391. 865-584-4391. Budget Transmissions. Don't begrudge it. Take it to budget.
Hey there, Basilio family. Jennifer Morris here with Keller Williams Realty. The countdown to fall football is on. Is your fall plan missing the perfect home to watch the Vols make another playoff run? If a new view is on your game day checklist, I'm ready to help you find it. Don't wait until kickoff. Give me a call today at 865-694-5904 or visit my website at nextmovesmokymountains.com. That's nextmovesmokymountains.com, and go Vols.
Basilio here reminding you that when you want to sell your extra tickets to the game, you don't want to give your life away online with all your personal information just because you want to sell a few extra tickets. Clark Moore at Select Ticket Service will gladly buy your extra game tickets and your extra parking passes. And the best part? Clarky Boy pays cash. 865-919-1016. 865-919-1016. Clarky Boy pays cash at Select Ticket Service. Clarky Boy pays cash. Tony B here with the great Zakai Ziegler for Advent.
Hey, whoa. Tony, I got this. Hey, Tennessee, it's Easy here. Next time you have an electric issue at your home or business, call my friends at Advent Electric. With offices in Knoxville and Nashville, it's Mama's Easy approved.
You heard it from the most electrifying player in the league. Call the service professionals at Advent Electric, 865-588-0631. Online, adventelectric.com. Tell them ZZ sent you. It's always magnificent. Mondays on the Basilio Show, presented by our friends at Fleet Tire. I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. Fleet Tire, I-275 exit 1B at East Woodland Avenue in Knoxville. And now, back to B. Had kind of an introspective program today. How's this for introspective, Bri? Brett McMurphy reports that Vanderbilt, being left out of today's poll, remains the only power conference team that has never been ranked in the preseason top 25 poll. How is that possible going back to the James Franklin era, Bri? They were never even a preseason top 25 team back when they were winning 9 and 10 games.
Well, Diego Pavia says they're going to win the Natty this year.
Well, if Pavia says it, I believe it. You know? Pavia's, again, I think he's kind of fun on that special they're doing. You know, I know he's kind of a people don't like the guy and are kind of sick of him. But at any rate, let's go back to our phones at 865-200-5402. Special shout out to Matt Dixon. They've never been in the preseason top 25. It's just crazy. It's crazy. Let's get Sam in here, who's up next. Sam, welcome in.
Hey, man, it's actually Tan Adam.
Hey, Tan Adam, welcome in, brother.
Hey, buddy. Hey, Vanderbilt's right where they should be. That doesn't surprise me at all. I love it. That's not why I called, though. Tony, I got two things for you real quick.
Uh-huh.
The first thing, and I apologize, I'm kind of out of breath. I'm doing my walk at lunchtime today, decompressing, and I was thinking about this issue with the expired license. The company I work for, I'm W-2, and I go out and I sell and drive around, and I use my own personal vehicle. I don't get any reimbursement. But every year, they send me an email and say that my documentation for my private insurance that I pay for on my own is about to expire. And they request a copy of that for company records. And when they first started doing it, I kind of got offended by it because, what is it their business? I'm the one paying for it. But the bottom line is they're just trying to hold me accountable, provide a layer of avoiding any liability. And at the end of the day, it literally is an Excel spreadsheet. Once a year, you plug it in, you automatically tie those email addresses to the date and the cell, and you automatically generate an email sending it out, requiring the players to send in a copy. It literally is a 10-minute deal once a year. Because Tennessee has a law on the line with these kids, even though they're not employees, they are.
See, that's thought-provoking because that's what the throat was kind of getting at in the write-up today when he said, internally they can't let this happen. Like, you just can't.
No.
And I'm going, but wait a second, kind of like you. But this guy's an adult. I mean, and he knew he didn't have his license. You know why we knew it? They were spinning that he didn't know this. You're not carrying your passport around, Adam, if you don't know that you don't have your license. That's the only reason you're carrying your passport around.
Yeah, unless he's planning to go play in Hawaii. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
or,
But,
make a run to Mexico or something. Who knows?
Yeah. The real reason I called, and it's a good segue. When your friend texted about the defense. Am I crazy, or was it just a couple years ago we were ready to get rid of Banks?
No, that's exactly right.
Okay.
And he was up for the MTSU job like a year and a half ago, and I was talking about how, because he's still not known as a great recruiter, but what they've done is they've surrounded him with very good recruiters on the defensive side. The defensive side out-recruits the offensive side here these days. It's just how it goes. It's just what's happening.
Well, for people like Negative, what he has to realize is for those of us that are realistic and have been here for a while watching this can go one of two ways. It can be a scenario where we got, apparently the best quarterback, in the country, which we've been down that road before, coming in next year. That should bring in some recruits we got doing really well in the recruiting scene. If we have a decent season, maybe things go well. But if this thing falls apart, Tim Banks is going to have a good defense regardless. He will not stay here. You're talking about a chain reaction with Rodney Gardner. You're talking about a potential catastrophe if it does not go well. So for those of us that are concerned, we're not trying to be negative. We just understand the ramifications of this thing falling apart.
I don't know what falling I don't know what falling apart is, though, because that schedule, the worst Tennessee could be this year is 7-5 with that schedule. There's no way you could lose 6 games against that schedule. Just no way. So I don't know. I mean, when we start talking about worst case scenarios and that kind of thing, now you could be hard to watch offensively. I'll agree with that. I mean, that certainly is. There's no doubt that's within the realm of possibility that you could be a very hard to watch football team offensively. But that's a radical departure from this thing, the ceiling falling in, so to speak. I just don't see. It's such an easy schedule, man. It just is.
But if the offense is bad, I'm just throwing this out there. The offense is bad, and the defense is great. Does Tim Banks stay?
Well, I mean, sooner or later, he seems like he wants to be a head coach. He interviewed for that MTSU job, and if he continues to put up great numbers and they continue to do what they're doing, he's probably going to get an opportunity at some point to be a head coach somewhere, I would think. Yeah. So I think that happens regardless, though, even if you're winning a bunch of games. I mean, a guy that expresses the want to do that, and look, he's got the what I call the measurables these days to be able to do that. In other words, he sounds really good at a press conference. He looks good. He looks and sounds the part, which means he's sellable at the university level to your boosters, wherever that may be. So yeah, I would think if he were a stock, I would buy Tim Banks right now from that perspective. Sure. Yep.
Well, I just hope the decisions on offense with quarterbacks and wide receivers don't lead to him leaving next year, because we really do need to rely on this good defense the next couple of years.
Thank you. It's well put. And the other thing we don't know about when you start about the future of the program is, because you're in a window right here with the and by the way, we will do some TLD Logistics Overdrive overtime, so if you're on hold, I'll get to you. I'll do a quick TLD Logistics Overdrive overtime. I've kind of rallied here and woken up. In the meantime, I want to thank the great Brian Hartman for working the board today and coming in and helping us with that, and Laura for all her efforts and shuttling me around and babysitting me and everything else. Great calls today. I mean, a lot of really good in-depth discussion. We miss Bino. Bino, get back. Tomorrow, Matt will be here. John Adams will be here. and Bry, and we'll continue to look around. Maybe we'll look around at a couple camps tomorrow as well. In the meantime, I appreciate you. Check out our blog today over at tclub.team. Again, tclub.team. And we're just going to continue to keep it real, through camp. And what is truly happening. We're going to continue to endeavor to share that with you. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's somewhere in between. The good, the bad, and the ugly, as we say in the trade. And you know where I'm trending when I look in the mirror from that perspective. In the meantime, we love you. Peace. G to the B to the O. Take the VO. We love you. Peace.
WJBE 1040 AM 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
It's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime, presented by TLD Logistics. Online at tldlogistics.com. And now let's go to the guys with today's edition of TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime.
Thank you, Connexio Kristen. 865-200-5402 is the number. It's an interesting thing that our last caller just brought up with regards to his employer. I've had a couple people email me things like that as well, that they agree with Orange Throat that Tennessee's apparatus is big enough, that they have enough support staff, that there should be somebody there tracking that with these players. That, hey, we're going to pay you. You should make it a point to have your affairs in order, and we'll help you from that regard. Look, I'm a personal responsibility person. Part of me, knows that it's kind of his deal that he got arrested, and it's his problem, and it's just sort of silly and embarrassing, and I'm not blowing it out of proportion. It doesn't mean you have a football program out of control. I know one thing. I would not mess with that Ruby Whitehorn lady. No offense. Hey, Brian, she does not look like somebody you want to mess with. And reading that arrest report, gaw. She kicked in a lady's door. Gaw.
The Lady Vols back?
Gaw.
Are they back?
I'll tell you this. If that Lady Vol group we saw on the court last year and the Tennessee basketball team went in a back alley and fought it out, I'm not sure I wouldn't put some money on that Lady Vol bunch. They got some tough-looking people on their team. Gaw! Let's go to the phones. 865-200-5402. If you want to hunt, mix hunt with us, it's TLD Logistics Overdrive Overtime. I mean, Ruby, what? She kicked her door in! Gaw! Jeff, welcome in. You're on the air.
Hi, Tony. How you doing?
Hey.
How's your back doing?
Oh, God, man, it's painful.
Well, thanks for staying on a few more minutes for the overdrive. I couldn't call Friday when y'all were talking about ball calls and the coaching show. That news kind of struck me pretty hard on Friday morning, I guess. I used to work on the Johnny Majors show way back in the day during the early years of Johnny Majors.
What era?
And that was 77, his first year.
Wow.
At 79, 80, 81.
Where was it filmed?
And, what's that?
Where was it filmed? Where was it shot?
We taped at Greystone, WATE, at midnight on Saturday nights.
There you go. That's cool. That's cool. So when you would tape back then, right? How many people at the shoot? How many people would be there to execute that?
Well, you mean talk about the game or the taping of the actual show?
Yeah, the taping of the show. Yeah.
Well, they had the full Channel 6 production crew out there. They had, the director was Bob, and they had the cameraman and Dewey and all those guys. It was a major production for the TV station. They just did it Saturday night, midnight. And then they ran copies of the tape, and they handed out to runners. Who would then drive copies of the show to various points across the state, including Memphis and Atlanta. They drive. They were runners. They were the runners. They just drive all night to deliver the show on Sunday mornings.
You know what that reminds me of? So my early days in radio, we would have to drive to various stations around town and pick up reel-to-reel tapes. There was no internet. Physically, you had to figure out a way to get that tape from one station to another. So we would all extend each other, even though we're out there competing for dollars. You extended professional courtesy to those that were sort of in your space. The other thing that reminds me of when you start talking about the tapes is that a lot of the times, old school wrestling, right? Which I love. I love old school wrestling because it's just a remnant of a bygone era which could never happen again, where people believed what they were seeing, and before McMahon turned it into a cartoon. Back then, they would take those tapes and they would cycle them, which is similar to what you're talking about. So in other words, it would air in this market. They would take it and they would either overnight it or put it in the mail, get it as quickly as possible, to the next market, to the next market, to the next market, to the next market. And they would never keep those recordings. They would just keep recording over the same tapes, which is why in a lot of places so little film exists. Let me ask you this, man. So you were there in the early years of the major show. They used to show, and I had some people email me about this, they said in the early majors years, you would see just about every play in a football game. That seems like that's a lot of editing.
We were. I was on the game crew. I shot 16 millimeter film with the other film crew guys.
Wow.
Ernie Robertson, David Book, Toby Sharp, Mac McDonald.
Wow.
Crazy guy. And we'd shoot the game, 16 millimeter film, and we would get every play. And I was sideline cameraman, so if I got some stuff on, that was great. But we would then go back to photo services there in the communications building, and we'd work on the editing and working on the film that would be presented on television in front of Johnny Majors. And it was the first time that he saw that film of the game, and we did show essentially every play. With some replays and, a halftime feature. And it was a lot of fun, man. It was a lot of fun. The film crew, we didn't have to go to Channel 6, but, we worked on it all day. We'd go out there and we'd have a good time. We didn't have anything to do with the TV taping, but we watched it, and watched our stuff on the air, and Johnny Majors reacting to it. And it was the first time, and it was just about every play. Because in those days, back in the day, we didn't have, your school could be on television no more than twice. So the vast majority of the games weren't, if you weren't at the game, you didn't have any way of seeing the game until you got up on Sunday morning or got home early from church and turned it on at noon before NFL started and watched the coaching show. And that's the way you'd see. That's the way you get video of the Tennessee game the day before.
The ratings for that, Jeff, the ratings had to be astounding back then. Just astounding. The numbers they would pull with
because big following. Tennessee was, Tennessee football, and people were starved for information. And they had, most of the time, there were people who listened to John Ward, and then on Sunday they would get to see the coaches show and see the actual game on film. And
think about the combination of Ward and Major sitting there, and just the gravity of those two personalities creating very good television around something that was so scarce, which is what you're talking about, a product that was not saturated like today's is, where you can just get it in a million different places. That was really that's a real blessing that you had a chance to be a part of that. That's cool.
Oh, it was a blast. It was a blast. And sometimes when I'm at you want to know a surreal experience. Sometimes when I'm at the stadium these days watching a game, and they'll show some of those old things, and it's a weird experience to see something you shot up on the Jumbotron.
Wow.
You know, it's only for a couple of seconds. That's a weird experience. It's in the middle of all, and the stadium is so much different than it was then. And Majors, like you said Friday, he was a character. It was fun to go out there and watch that taping.
So and the thing about him too is, I'd imagine after some games he'd be great, a lot of fun, and after some games he could be a surly SOB. I'd imagine after some games.
One game stands out, 1977, Georgia Tech, rainy game. We lost 24-6, and we looked awful. And, man, he was not happy during that taping. And during a break, John Ward asked him, what happens in a situation like that? And he looked at him, and he said, we're just not worth a damn. You know.
Oh, God.
Now, I'll say that now because everybody knows it. I loved Johnny Majors. Everybody knows that during that first season or two, he was pretty surly, and later on in that 77 year, he got to like the team more. But man, on that night, he was mad, and you could see it. And there wasn't much banter during the breaks that night, and he was. Yeah, you could tell, and we were like, "Oh God, we really are not very good." Of course, we knew that from the game, but I don't know if you remember that game. It was a horrible game, and raining and everything. And but on the other end, after the Notre Dame game, 79, the famous one went on air. He slammed the shillelagh down on the desk. He was the life of the party. He was great.
Cloud nine, man. That's how Johnny was. Yep, he would go back and forth too.
He wore his emotions. You didn't get coach speak from him. He wore his emotions on his sleeve, and that was the first time. You know, they'd had meetings and stuff, but this was the first. Like I said, this is the first time he saw the film. This is his first impression of the
really
game,
neat.
And you could see how it struck him.
And imagine how today. Because I was talking with a friend of mine that's been in the deal for a long, long time, and we were just kind of like you, sort of lamenting the fact that we live in an era where, we're living in an era where radio is disappearing. You know, it's just kind of sad. We're living in an era now, though, where a coach's show is just kind of passé, and they don't even these modern coaches don't want to sit there and. The first time they're exposed to the film is on television. They don't need the money. They're way overpaid now, so there's no incentive. And I guess the guy that first started it was Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's year that he was here, he would literally sit on camera for like 12 minutes. And they let him get away with it. And, these guys have too much power now. They don't even have time they don't even have an hour to do a coach's show anymore. They just don't.
That's when I stopped watching the coach's show. Was 2009. The 30-minute show, and Lane Kiffin's on there for 12 minutes. It's like, why bother?
Why bother? Why would you even? If you're him, why did you waste your gas to go across town? Whatever. That's just a waste of resources. And as a viewer, you're sitting there going, "Why am I watching this?" And look, I'm not knocking the modern day and just saying that it was better in yesteryear, but the coach's show experience and you having the blessing of being on the inside of that, it was just such a unique thing back then, and it was a big deal. It was a blessing, and it was a blast, and it was everybody loved doing it, and it was a big effort. Ernie I can
Robinson,
imagine. Yep.
Ernie Robinson, we'd go back to, and that's where I met Bob Kessling. Bob Kessling was cutting coaching film for those shows. Mac McDougal would shoot coaching film, and Bob Kessling would shoot the version that the coaches got on Monday or Sunday, and everybody was involved. And then you went out to do a midnight taping at Channel 6, and it's like it was a lot of effort. And there was some famous document piece somebody did about Ernie Robinson editing the film on a plane flying back from Los Angeles one year. So it was logistically, it was a challenge, but it was fun. And if it's just a thing of the past, it was great. And like a lot of the guys that called in, I stopped watching years ago, but I had to call up and say, hey, that little niche of it was a lot of fun. And I look back on it with a lot of nostalgia and good memories. And man, those were the days. I sound like an old guy. I guess I am.
But, hey, I'll say this to you, man. Your work back then, touched people. When you were shooting that film on the sidelines, and there's no telling how many kids around the state became fans because of something that they saw through your camera lens. That's a pretty neat thought. You stop and think about that for a second.
Well,
and,
I don't know what
true.
I did, but
that's true. It's good for you. I appreciate you sharing it.
If I got 2 shots on, I was happy. If I got 3 shots on the show, I was ecstatic.
Yep.
Just because it's the sideline, it's got to be pretty remarkable for it to be used. And Ernie, he was a great guy, and everybody on that show was great. But John was great. And one more thing, we as Tennessee fans were fortunate that John Ward was the steward of that whole production. It was he and Ernie that did it basically, and I worked directly under Ernie. But John Ward picked it up after Doug Dickey left, and he just kind of made that his own. And there was no other coach's show to compare with that. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. Our show was the best during those years.
Listen,
some people like the Notre Dame playback, but John was great. Anyway,
I appreciate
all right,
the call.
I'll let you
Thank
go.
you. Yeah, great talking to you. I knew as a young broadcast student, and that was probably a few years past when you were there, but I knew that was some high-level television that they were doing. That was some high-level stuff they were producing. And Bino reminded me, which I hadn't really thought about, but truly, that was a deal where every play was televised. Every play that you got to sit there and break the game film down. You imagine these modern coaches sitting there? Brian, you imagine a modern coach sitting there for an hour and watching every play back and having to be accountable to the fans and say something about every play?
No, they'd be wanting their assistants to do that, or they'd be trying to put it off on somebody else.
Yep. That's why we don't have them now. These guys have too much power. That's just the way it is. But let's go back to our phones. Before we do, my friends at VIP Play want to remind you with football season right around the corner, they've got lines on all 12 Tennessee games. We are going to do a winners and losers coming up here momentarily with some futures bets. I'm hoping to do that either later in the week or early next week as my health will allow. So that's going to be fun. But my friends at VIP Play want to remind you, first bet, $5 or more, $100 in bonus bets instantly. The promo code is TNTony. You can go and get action on every Tennessee football game for the upcoming year. Of course, also bet on the win total and all that, and so much more. 200 leagues are live always, numerous bet types, props options, all kinds of stuff going on with the PGA Tour and the playoffs right now. And that first playoff down in Memphis, the first weekend of that was really terrific yesterday. 46-year-old Ernie Els winning. A buddy of mine jumped on VIP Play and live bet the kid from Texas because he just assumed that he was going to run over the field yesterday. And, when you're betting on Scotty Scheffler, it's not like you're going to get a great price. But he said he just wanted to have a little skin in the game, and that's kind of the point. I want you to have some fun while you're watching your sports this weekend. VIP play, live always, 200-plus leagues, numerous bet types, props, options. They'll take great care of you, and everybody gets treated like a VIP with VIP play. Jim Peters, I'm talking to you. And if you have a gambling problem, 800-889-9789. Jim Peters, I'm not talking to you. If you have a gambling problem, 800-889-9789. 21 and over in the state of Tennessee to place a bet. And let's go back to our phones without further ado and get our next call in. Josh, welcome in.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, Jay. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm hanging, buddy.
Good. Is your back doing better, Tony?
That's kind of a mess, but yeah, I'm feeling a little better. I'm able to kind of stand up and walk around a little bit, which
well, good deal.
Yep, thank you.
Hey, Tony, earlier when Rusty called in, did he say Nebraska is going to be Indiana of last year?
He said they could. Yeah, he said they could.
Rusty, I love you, but I kind of disagree with that. If you're saying that, Nebraska would have to make the playoffs like Indiana did last year. Is that what he meant?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what he was getting at. The point is, and we were talking about this with C on Thursday, when you start looking at the AP poll that just came out, and you go from number 8 down to number 25, several of those teams are not going to be in that final top 25. A few of the teams that are in those receiving votes, are going to touch making a playoffs, and maybe one makes a playoff this year.
We could be out of that top 25 by the midway through the season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I do disagree with that. I don't think Nebraska makes playoffs this year. I'd say they do a little bit better than last year, but I think they finish around 7, 5, 8, and 4.
Yeah.
I know they upgraded with Dana Holgerson at OC, but I just don't trust Rayola in Nebraska this year.
Here's the thing about him. The one point that Rusty made that's a good point is that when you lose that many games that are one-score games, eventually the check's going to come due for you, and you're going to get some breaks.
True. Yeah. So, Tony, and I know it's a common thing. It happens usually first scrimmage a team has. The defense dominates, but what do you expect in the last scrimmage from the Tennessee offense before the season starts?
I have no idea. I don't know.
Right.
I wish I could answer that. I don't know what level of quarterback play you're going to get.
Right.
I don't know what you're going to get from the receivers.
Let me ask you guys this. Are we even excited about Aguilar this season? Does he move the bar more than who we had the past 2 seasons and Nico and Milton Tony?
I don't know how to answer that. I really don't. It's a total wild card. And that's a great question, Yeah. Bri, are you excited, Bri, about the concept of watching Joey Aguilar and what could happen?
Well, I have literally, I'm intrigued, but I don't know about excited. I mean, I just don't know what it's going to be about.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. I'm intrigued by it, but I don't know if excited means, hey, we're going to light the world up and be hitting big passes, and I don't know if I could go there. I just can't lie to people. However, I'm intrigued by the season as a whole, just like I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen here, what's going to happen at Oklahoma, what's going to happen at Florida. How long is Diego Pavia going to last? What's going to happen at Auburn? Is the guy at Alabama going to be able to move the bar? Is LSU going to be able to touch a playoff? Is Arch Manning going to be that good? There are a million different question marks.
Is Brian Kelly going to be able to win a Week 1 game?
Yeah,
finally?
And could Brian Kelly be a bigger prick than he is?
Right. But what I'm trying to ask is, though, do you think we'll do like last season and run the ball more than we did pass the ball?
Yes, I do think that's the case.
And I think we'll see a lot of 12 personnel this season. You agree with that?
No question. No question. Yes. No question.
What have you been hearing this season from the Brame kid, Deshaun Brame?
They like him. He can catch a ball. They like him.
I've been hearing from my sources is he's physically athletic, gifted, then he needs to see the field this season.
But the problem is you've got a team leader in front of you in Kitzelman.
Right.
And then you've got a second guy in Ethan Davis who's having a really good camp. Again, it's a strength of your team. Tight end's a strength of your team. Maybe they'll take a couple of those guys and line them up in different spots. And maybe you can see 3 tight ends on the field at one time.
True.
Who knows?
But I know people don't want to hear it, Tony, like you were saying about 7-5 is the floor.
Mm-hmm.
That could possibly be the floor, man, if you don't have things go your way. Like if Aguilar is not the guy and you have injuries on the offensive line and other different things, 7-5 could be very possible.
Sure, anything's possible, but 6-6 is not. 7-5 is the absolute bottoming out of this deal, Josh, in my mind.
All I got to say is out the door, Tony, they better start off and win that Syracuse game, first game. But if you lose that Syracuse game, you're going to have a lot of Mets fans after that game.
Mets fans? He's taking a shot at the Mets. Billy Napier was asked if quarterback DJ Lagway was going to play for Florida if the Gators played this Saturday. He said, we don't play Saturday. I think it's a good way to answer that. The Lagway thing, man, that's just terrible, you know? That just stinks. That just stinks. It's been incredible. It's been a great day today. It's been a lot of fun. It's been terrific. You've been wonderful. It's been next level. Brian, thank you. Special shout out to Vanderbilt as Diego Pavia and his prominence on that special wasn't able to scratch them into the top 25. Here is your top 25 from the AP. Texas 1, Penn State 2, Ohio State 3, Clemson 4. I'm buying all 4 of those teams to make the playoffs. Georgia 5, Notre Dame 6, Oregon 7, Alabama 8. I'm buying all those teams to make the playoff. LSU I sell at 9. Miami gets sold at 10. Arizona State gets sold at 11. Illinois gets sold at 12. South Carolina gets sold at 13. I guess you could buy Michigan, I guess, to make a playoff. I guess, maybe. Who knows? Somebody's got to make it. Florida at number 15. We just talked about the Lagway issue. Look, if Harrison Bailey has to play even if Lagway is healthy from pillar to post, which he can't be, he won't be. It's just his body's not going to cooperate. They would still have trouble making a playoff. SMU at 16. Return a lot of players. They're in a pretty easy, soft league. They could get into the playoff. Kansas State at 17. Certainly a team that could make a playoff out of their league. Oklahoma at 18. Very intriguing. Texas A&M, a rather underrated number 19 on the year. I don't expect them to make a playoff, but who knows. Indiana, number 20, I'll sell. Ole Miss at 21, that seems low for them. But they're replacing a guy who I told you, I think Jackson Dart's going to be a very nice NFL player. And it's not going to surprise me if he starts from day one for the Giants and is okay. Iowa State at 22, Texas Tech at 23. Your team, your town, your Tennessee Volunteers, number 24. And finally, Boise State and the Blue Turf at number 25. Bri, you've been to Boise Stadium, right?
No, I haven't.
I thought you went there on a vacation a couple years ago. You didn't go to Boise?
No, not to Boise, no.
It's it's such an interesting place, and I'm going to leave you one final thought here, and that's that I'm just going to go, because I'm a simpleton, right? And I am a simpleton. But the total simpleton, I absolutely love. Still give me a privacy here on T Club. That's really annoying. I absolutely love being a simpleton. Now, this is going to be a lot of fun this season, and I celebrate the fact that this is here. But I love a little silliness, and I like having a little fun with it. I was told that inside word on Ruby Whitehorn is she told that lady, Ruby said, "Don't take my love to town." She kicked in her door. I mean, good night. Again, the Lady Vol team that was on the court last year and the men's team last year, if they went into a dark alley and you said which unit is going to emerge victorious, okay? I would give the Lady Vols, like, just for the sake of the conversation, maybe give them like brass knucks, and the men don't have anything. I would bet on the Lady Vols. I'd bet on that group last year to whip our guys. No offense. We appreciate you. We love you. Peace and G to the B to the O. Really great calls today. God, we're like a couple weeks away. It's crazy. I'm getting excited over here. Love you. Peace.
WJBE 1040 AM, 99.7 FM. Translator W259AB. Powell, Knoxville.
Let's go, man. Let's go. It's a Friday. Rice fans. And we are pretty fired up, focused, and prepared today. And why are we fired up, focused, and prepared? Because Bino Jeff Henderson is in the house. We're fired up, focused, and prepared because the Vols scrimmage tomorrow. We're fired up, focused, and prepared because Mike